Hello, welcome to another tonalist landscape oil painting demonstration. This is your painter in residence. And the painting I'm bringing you today is called Forest Path. It is a 8 by 14 and I completed this a couple days ago. Yeah, I worked on it over a few sessions. You're looking at my drawing session right now. We're working on a bit of hardboard. It's been primed with 2 coats of transparent gesso. That's why it looks like there's nothing on there. And the color we're painting with is burnt umber mixed with perylene green. And I like that because, first of all, it'll dry pretty quick. So I believe the drawing sat around for a few days before I got in there and started doing all the color work. And this kind of scene, it can be real tricky, real tricky. I keep going after them, and the but first of all, it's complex. It's a complex scene. You know, if you're just painting something like a field with a house on it, or a tree and a sky, yeah, it's not so bad. When you get into, like, hundreds of trees, I don't know. In the actual photo, I'm sure there was probably hundreds of trees, but yeah, we can number the amount of trees we have. Maybe it's 20 or so. Who knows? But who knows the actual number? I will lay one tip on you though early. If you are going after this kind of scene, a lot of trees, a lot of dense, forest action going. You'll see in your reference image, or if you're out there painting en plein air, where you'll have a situation where one tree's directly in front of another. So you have 2 trees, but one's in front of the other. You don't see a gap in between them, that kind of thing. Don't paint that. Never paint that. Don't do it. It doesn't work. It could, you could conceivably make it work, but only in so much as people really can't tell it's a second tree. It doesn't really work. I'm just telling you. So, like, you see where we have on our left here, we have this grouping of, like, basically 3 trees with some other trees off to the side. That had a like an extra tree in there. Basically, I eliminated it, and I had to fill it in with a bunch of nothing. Now, that wasn't the same thing as like one tree in front of another, although maybe it was. Yeah. Either way, it was too jammed up. So you need to let your trees breathe. And the in the members area, you can see this video as I'm doing it in real time, and it's 4 hours long. 4K, no ads, $6 a month. Worth it, I think, if you're into seeing how paintings come together. If you think I'm doing something that you'd want to learn how to do, I'd tip on in. And you can tip on in, tip on out. It's not like you're committed year in, year out on that. Anyway, I would be mentioning when I was painting this something like intervals. So in music, you'll have the length of a note, and then you have space in between notes, a gap of silence. This is called an interval, and this is what defines a melody, the length of the note and the spaces in between it, as well as the tone. But we're not really here talking about music, we're talking about painting. Painting is very similar. Like trees, you can see you can think of the trees as the notes and the spaces between them as spaces. So you always want to have, you don't want to have too much commonality, like the same space in between each grouping of trees or each tree. Always vary it. So that's really way more important than anything that might be happening in the reference image. And of course, as always, the reference image should be ideally used just to have some reference, just to have something to look at, to make your painting. After a certain point in time, there's another. I got lots of tips for you today. Yeah, and don't think you got to be in the members area. I'm here for everybody. These 15-minute, I was doing the 15-minute videos before I ever got into doing the live videos. And we did the live videos for a long time on the channel, and then I ended up folding that into a members area thing because it's really best that way, because people that want it can pay a little bit to get it, and most people don't. Most people want a 15-minute sped up video. They've got lots of things to do, etc. Anyway, this is what the tip I was going to lay on you. I told you so valuable before I went into telling you about the members area yet again. Here's the tip, you are going to, and one of the reasons I love doing underpainting is you establish a pattern with your drawing / underpainting. After a certain point in time, what you should be doing is working with that pattern, reinforcing the pattern that you've established, augmenting it, making it better in any way that you can. You don't really want to constantly be frustrated with how the drawing or pattern that you've created on your initial underpainting doesn't exactly correspond to the reference image, etc., so on and so forth. That frustration, of course, we all feel that when we're trying to render something that we have a reference image of, and unless you are just amazing, you're probably falling short quite often. Hey, whoa, what's this, the book? Got a couple orders for the book this week, really appreciate that. You should get it if you like what I do, and I think you would enjoy it. It's $60 US. That includes the international shipping. But place your order today, and it'll come to you, be signed and numbered, and yeah, collector's item all the way around. Anyway, getting back into the painting. So yeah, you set up that initial pattern, then you're kind of reinforcing that. Now this area back there where the more faded trees are, this was is really the main sort of challenge for me in this and you see in the channel I've been wrangling with that hazy things in the forest distance kind of thing a bit. This is not a sepia. A lot of those have been sepia. And this is a little more, say, a representational, less mysterious kind of feeling. And I think I did a good job here, but I have to tell you, that's the challenging part to paint, because as the trees go in the distance, there's more and more of them. You can't paint every single tree. That is a valid approach. I mean, you could sit there and painstakingly make sure that everything is duplicating the photograph exactly. What you're really going to get is a painting that looks exactly like a photograph. People will, you'll have, maybe you'll get a great feeling of how well you've done hearing people exclaim, wow, is that a photo? That'd be about it, because it's going to take you a long time to do it, and who needs it? I mean, you could just print out the photo, and save yourself a lot of time. I'm interested in making a painting and in making my impression of the scene, the way it makes me feel, the magic that I feel when apprehending that scene, as best as I can. And you got some tools in your quiver, so to speak. You've got the old composition, you got the color, you got the values, you've got relative amount of detail. And detail, of course, implies that you're rendering something. And with these tree shapes, actually, if you look at it, we have very few branches, and that's something. When I do some sort of branch kind of thing in a scene like this, it's usually quite offhand and abstracted. I try not to do a ton of branches, just like I try to eliminate all the small trunks and things too. You want the whole thing to be simplified. You want it to be an impression. The reason for simplifying branches, that I remember being a less experienced painter, and just going in there and branch all day long. They don't make the painting better. That's why I don't do much of it. Oh, by the way, what you see me doing right now, this would have been the wrap up, the final painting stage. And it was a few days. I had a weekend in there, and another day. And so what I did was I oiled the painting out, and you have to be really careful when you do that, because and I was so glad that I had added burn umber to the black, because the color that'll run when you do that will be the black. Anyway, I did that just so everything could be, I could see the actual colors of the painting. It hadn't gone that matte, really. If things go matte and dull, that's one sort of downside to oil paint. One of the few, I have to say, because oil paint is the king. It's the king of all painting media. I can't think of any media that would be better. You know, the only claim to fame, say, acrylic might have would be that it's well, it's permanent, it lasts, and that it's water-based cleanup. You know, but then again, you got all those microplastics going into the ocean, bro. So I don't know. Yeah, something to think about. Anyway, when we pulled this together, I decided not to go overly strokey. Didn't really. These types of trees, I really love painting. I guess they're birch trees. Don't really know. I am assuming they are. But I really love painting those kinds of trees. I wish there were more of them around me where I live. There isn't. Because they're interesting, you know, they have that light bark. Now, one thing, oh, here's another tip for you, since you've been kind enough to stick with me for 11 minutes or so. The reference image, which by the way you can also see in the members area, every video starts with me going over the reference image, pointing out the things that I maybe did to it, and also the things that I'm going to watch out for as I'm doing my painting. I think that's really, really important educationally. Anyway, getting back to the tip I was going to lay on you. So in that reference image, you would see these main trees on our left here. There's two main trees. They're quite bright. They go almost as light as the lightest area of the highlight in the middle distance there. But you need to make a call. Are they going to have them the same brightness? Because then it's going to be a competition, and you don't need that. Also, you want to realize, of course, that human eyes, just like I think just about any animal's eye, is always going to be quite attracted to the brightest thing. The brightest thing is where our attention will go, and then we'll scan into the shadows and see what sort of information we can glean there. But the stuff that's in the light is always going to be the first thing apprehended, and basically you don't want to have competition going on there where those trees are bright, the distant bit's bright, and it's kind of like setting up some discord. In fact, there's a bit of harmony there because I held back. And this is one of the reasons why I feel still this painting doesn't look as tonal, say, as some paintings, but the tonal harmony is in evidence, and it's just stamped in there. And that is the restraint that's used in values all the way across. You know, that's just what's a constant struggle, isn't it? You know. Anyway, we're getting kind of close. Are we getting close to the end? I can't see because we're zoomed in. Yeah, we're getting pretty close to the end. You know what? I appreciate you coming around, watching me paint. I know not all of you are painters, and that doesn't surprise me at all, because I think watching paintings come together and hearing about it is really awesome, just on its own. It doesn't really matter. If you know, I mean, I take a teaching stance, and I try and teach those of you that want to do this too, but it's perfectly fine to just watch it, I think. Anyway, until I come back with another video for your edification and enjoyment, do me a favor, do me a solid, take good care of yourself, your family, all your loved ones. Stay out of trouble, and God bless you and your family.